Ladies and gentlemen, this is JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I'm Joe.
I'm Won-Jin.
Today we're going to talk about Season 2 of DP streaming on Netflix. But before we do that, I want to make a public announcement. I want to apologize for last week's Oppenheimer podcast.
We had this little technical problem.
Well, it was like human error because I did not know that I was turning off the mic. And our most loyal subscriber, Uichan Hong, mentioned that to us. Thank you so much for that. We apologize. We did think about doing it again, but we will talk about Oppenheimer again if you guys want us to.
Yeah, so leave us a comment.
Yeah, leave us a comment if you want us to talk about it again. We're so sorry for the mistake. The reason why we're not doing it immediately because it's just me and Won-Jin. We're poor. These microphones are secondhand. But also good news is welcome 24th subscriber, whoever you are. Please don't be shy to leave a reply. Here we go, DP.
All right. So, okay.
You go first? You go first.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say I really enjoyed Season 1 of DP. And I especially liked it because DP was not a show that was going to glamorize the Korean military experience. It's almost basically disclosing a lot of the abuses that these soldiers go through, and in a sense, it's trying to bring awareness to the problem.
I don't think it's unique though, because I feel like Taiwanese and Singapore, they also have, they have to serve, and I think when I first watched Season 1, I felt like it worked because it was both South Korean and universal. Because military abuses, because even American military, they always have. Every once in a while, every couple of years, they come up with these investigations, and there's statistics about military, and it's really a commentary about military culture, patriarchal culture, etc., etc. And I also agree that I really liked the first season because I thought it was written really well.
Yeah.
First of all, and second of all, some of the reasons why I'm Korean and Won-Jin is Korean too, but sometimes like. The sentimental aspect of like Korean drama annoys me a little, but
by the way, we call that Shinpai in Korean.
Yeah. But DP, I thought balanced it really well.
Yeah.
With enough poignant social commentary plus well-earned like sentimental moments. Because I did feel sorry for the guy. Oh, spoilers ahead for season 1 and 2. I did feel sorry for the guy at the end, and that it was this great tragedy. And I thought the ending was beautiful too.
Yeah.
It was. DP season 1 is a very, very, in a way, pedantic show. In that it is making a huge moral judgment. It's pointing the finger at not just the military, but the audience, and it's a very, very a moral show.
It's basically telling you that you are the one who let this happen, and the victims are the victim.
Yeah.
The perpetrator, they're also the victim.
Yeah.
They're all a victim of the system.
Yeah. But when I heard they were gonna do a season 2, I was a little bit worried, and I'm gonna go first. Season 2 was better than I expected. Because I kind of expected Witcher Season 2 or Die Hard 2. I'm sorry if you like Die Hard 2, but I always consider Die Hard 1 and 3 to be the best. And 2 to be the... it's still good. I know some people might call it underrated, but I always felt like they just put a big bang on the Season 1 thing. But Season 2 is a little bit of a mixed bag for me. First of all, I liked the first 4 episodes, but I felt like it could be 5 episodes this whole season. I felt there were moments that reminded me of season 1 that I didn't need to see again. For example, like the first 2 episodes, like I feel like that could have been 1 episode and make it an hour and 30 minutes and make it even more tighter. But I did feel like there were moments where the show was trying to remind us of what happened to season 1, like it's a TV show. But I didn't feel those things were necessary. And the last 2 episodes I have a fucking problem with. Like, when Juno turned into Bourne Juno or Juno Identity, I was like, motherfucker, like, what?
Bourne.
Like that's that train scene?
Yeah, the train boxing scene. That was a little comical. I would say. That's something you would see in a cartoon or in a comic book. And I think this whole show is actually based on a webtoon, like a comic. So I kind of understand. Maybe I was thinking to myself, maybe the scene was in the comic book, but it didn't really it didn't really work well with the TV adaptation.
Yeah.
So that was
because the moment that happened, like, I was already worried in season 4 when they told me that Juno was the one that defected from the army. I was like, oh shit, are they gonna do some spy shit? And I was like, I felt like the realism went out the door a little. Number one, and number two, the villain in this season, I felt like was inferior to season 1. The reason for that is the season 1 villain, he worked because he was such a mundane person. Like, he didn't feel like he was like a fucking like a cartoon villain at all. Yeah. He felt like,
or someone with enormous power or influence. He's just one of the soldiers.
Like, you could tell, like, he's someone I could imagine I have met, like a bureaucrat. Not necessarily evil, but, you know, also not really good and looking out for himself. But I felt like they cast too much of a handsome actor here, like that famous guy. I forget his name.
Which one?
The
general guy?
Yeah.
Jin-hee.
Yeah. I mean, he's a famous actor in Korea. But I felt like he just like the military villain. He became like this 007 villain. I felt like near the end, I was like, fuck you, asshole. Like, I like season 1 because that villain was such a mundane guy. Like, he felt like a ajashi we could meet, like a boomer. Like, we are so familiar with him. That worked beautifully for me. But here I agree. I did not even like that sidekick guy. Like, I was like, huh? When he did like special op move and shit.
Oh no, I actually like that part. The first time he shows off the skill.
I agree there.
That's I think just enough amount of that martial arts stuff to keep me hooked.
That was really I like the spin in the there. But as the show went on, he just became more of a Quantum of Solace,
he's like the middle boss.
Not the middle boss, but the henchman. I was like, huh? Like, really? Like, just like. And like, I also had a problem with the court drama because.
Yeah, I think that again. I agree. I think that's very poorly executed.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I really like that the divorced couple. It added a lot of dimension, and I felt like, wow, they're really going for, this is like his very realistic, not realistic, but I like that dynamic because in Korea we are also seeing more divorced couples, and romance isn't just all shiny Christmas shit anymore. But when she turned into a lawyer, and I felt like that was done too quickly. I felt like her change wasn't earned. Because you were nowhere near in season 1, and we assume you're this villain, and then you have a guilty conscience and you change. That sister of the first season's the victim, that was more believable.
The first victim, that was a nice touch.
Yeah, that was more believable.
That was a surprise.
Than the divorcee wife who quits being a job. So like mixed bag for me. Another thing I had a problem with was season 1, I felt like the connecting thread was better because it was so fresh. But for instance, season 2, my favorite episode and the least favorite episode is actually episode 3 with the drag queen. Because when that first happened, I was bored in the first 10 minutes. But as the show went on, I really loved the ambition of that mini story in there about this person. Like, because for people who don't know, like, drag queen LBGT community in Korea don't come here. We are racist and sexist as fuck on that matter. So that was a really ambitious touch to touch on that about Korean military. And that drag queen actor fucking killed it. He was so brilliant in it. And that tragedy was heartbreaking. But I also felt like it should have been like a mini episode at the end or something.
Instead of like an entire episode.
Yeah, because I felt like there was going to be something going on, but I felt like the main driver was weaker than season 1. It just happened so quickly.
Yeah. That's true.
So like episode 3 and 4 were but I do have some praise though. Episode 4, I love the horror. They try to bring some horror vibe in it, right? Oh, this is a ghost town. Like all these like crows. Like I thought it was kind of over the top, but I also like that they were trying to do this like Witcher-esque mini story within the story. But I also felt like the twist was kind of predictable compared to season 1 things. Oh, and season 5, 6, I did not like that. Like,
you mean episode 5?
Yeah, episode 5, 6. I did not like that Parliament member's son returning.
Oh, that was, I kind of laughed when he came back, and I also laughed at the setting that he's supposedly exercised, and now he can suddenly fight.
I was like,
like that's gonna happen.
Fuck. You were doing cause up to episode 4, it was great.
I mean, come on, that's what you expect from Mugatu and Zoolander, man. That's the kind of you see.
I completely agree, Won-Jin. I was not happy to see him return. I was just like, man. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Kingdom a lot.
Season 1 was perfect.
And then Kingdom season 2 had this where they tried to do this grand conclusion, which I didn't feel was necessary, and the ending was okay, but I would have actually preferred that guy dying, actually.
What, the Parliament guy?
Like, not the season 1 guy. Remember at the end,
the
cartoon guy?
I mean, I think it would have made more sense if he was killed off. And I just don't understand how he went through all that and he just walked out.
Yeah, I also have a question. How is his teeth normal? Didn't he shoot himself in the fucking mouth?
I'm going to have to watch it again, but yeah, I think this is too dramatic.
I felt it was like for sentimental points. By the time Juno looked at him and cried, I was like, stop crying, bitch. I was just like, it was already good. You didn't have to like I felt like they were doubling down on a message that we already feel, because this is a very dark show, by the way. Like the bullying culture, and I just felt like they tried to like jerk our tear sockets too much.
That is the Shinpai element that we just talked about, and when you can read the director's intentions, it's.
I agree.
Yeah,
and I did not. Yeah,
you just don't want to follow the path like all just paved by the director, and you just feel like, no, I'm not gonna go that way.
Yeah, it referenced season 1 too much. I didn't even like that bus scene where he met that asshole guy.
Oh, you know what? I actually really like that scene.
Oh yeah,
because I think like the freeze he had on his face has so much meaning into it.
Okay.
I mean, I think that scene also shows that after committing all those horrendous atrocities, he's mixing in, just like any ordinary people.
Yeah, like
outside.
Nothing happened.
And the people around him have no idea what kind of shit he did. And yet there he is. And then when he locks eyes with Juno and then he freezes. And it also still shows that this is my interpretation. He still has that trauma of what he experienced. So at the same time, he's not only like I said earlier, a perpetrator. He's also he's also a victim.
Yeah. But I just felt like, okay, I respect your opinion, Won-Jin, and that may be so. I just felt like episode 6 was just hammering down on the same message again and again and again. Military fucked up. I was like, listen, like it's fuck this shit. I was just like, like the beauty of season 1 was like it made me not think about it, and like because season 1's ending was beautiful for me. Like did he like we were already worried about him, and then I felt like it did this like almost like old boy or Bourne Juno style ending where it was kind of dark and beautiful, but like ambiguous at the same time.
Yeah.
So here's my conclusion. Like up to there's 6 episodes on this season, just like season 1, or is it? Never mind. Like the first 4 episodes, I felt like I respect the writer though. like the writer, because I could tell that they were just trying to come up with like really new ideas. But episode 5 and 6 just made it feel like this was a rehash. And then, hey, here's this thing though, Won-Jin. It would be nice if they have some better suggestions, about how to solve this problem. Because I felt like they were going to do that with the drag queen episode and even episode 4.
You know what? I feel that like one of the main characters, Han Hoyeol, he's a sergeant, and now he's being discharged from the military, and Juno is left alone, and now he's going to become the veteran of the team, and I'm guessing that we're going to have another season. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll address what you're concerned about.
See, I agree with you. They're going for season 3. But man, fuck it, man. Like, so what are we supposed to do? I mean, it's nice that, like, because I felt like episode 3 and 4 had some answers though. Because especially episode 4 was, I mean, I didn't like the twist, but I did like the message in that guy who has a change of heart. You know, he tells that asshole, like, younger guy of his that you gotta push them down. And then so it's kind of telling us that this behavior is a learned behavior from top to bottom, right? So I felt like that was getting somewhere. And I did feel like the show was trying to make a bigger commentary on Korean society too, when they introduced that drag queen thing and that
you can clearly see what happens in the university even before they go to the military. Slapping in the face.
I love that scene because I was like, wow, this show is about to comment on, like, because think about it, Korean society breeds military society. But see what okay, that bus scene where he meets that guy, you know that these people, I mean, you and I, Won-Jin, we worked in Korean companies before. What they learn from military, they bring to civil life.
That's right.
They do bullying in companies too. The toxic culture for military doesn't just end there. And then you mentioned one aspect of it when you said these guys are living regular, but they actually bring that culture to our society life too.
And for those who don't know, I mean, we grew up in the 90s. We were born in the 80s. We're 90s kids. Yeah. In elementary school, if you look back in Korean schools, it all starts from there.
Yeah, they hit you.
Yeah, they hit you. You line up. You do like a roll call. Yeah. Like there's a lot of military element even in schools.
Yeah, even foreign observer who observe our companies, or AKA chaebols, they recognize a sort of a militarized pattern, but that comes from our history and that like conscripted military service culture. And then back to DP, I felt like they were gonna make a wider commentary on that, but they just, I felt like they shortchanged that for a trial that you and I both know is really implausible. Like, I felt like it was like they watched too many Jack Nicholson movies and Tom Cruise.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. That is not how a trial happens, man. I just like the realism just went out the door. And I know it's for entertainment and show, but I felt like the first season balanced it really well. I'm not saying first season was realistic. It was just, it felt realistic enough to be plausible. Even the military operation. But here, like, even the season 1 grenade thing, I was just like, and the big conspiracy. I felt like the show could do better. That's all. But
now my thoughts on season 2 overall is that it's rushed compared to season 1.
So?
If you think, I think we had the same problem with Kingdom. And season 1 was amazing because we could see that gradual effect this military abuses have on this one of the characters. What's his name? The artist guy. Yeah, the cartoon guy. And we see him practically become destroyed over the course of the entire season. Yeah. And it kind of hits us harder when we see him break down. But season 2 did not have that. I mean, the guy who shot all his I wouldn't call them buddies,
but bunkmates.
Yeah, bunkmates. That's right, bunkmates. Shoot all these bunkmates, and that just ended within like 2 episodes. Yeah. And we're just left with like a kind of like a rushed couple episodes where something tragic happened, and this is supposed to, I mean, we are supposed to empathize with the characters, but it's just not there. And we had that in season 1.
Yeah, with that guy.
But instead, season 2 chose to go through a lot of these different characters and their troubles, and did not give us enough time to empathize with them. Even Juno, when we look at season 1, we can see how guilty he becomes after he realizes that his failure to be on the mission ends with the suicide of one of the deserters, and that constantly haunts him. And we can see him lashing that out on that parliament member, the son guy, that dude. Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't tell us what's going on. They just show this what he's. We just assume what he's going through by watching what he's doing.
What you're trying to say was there was more subtlety to season 1.
Yeah, and season 2, it's rushed. It just does not have enough time. It's not gradual enough. So it loses a lot of the magic it had in season 1. That was one of my biggest problems with
plus,
season 2.
it's like the DP concept itself is not new anymore. So I think they have to work with that. But I agree. Let's give a number point now. Why don't you go first this time?
I'm not sure what I gave the first season, but I think the second season I can give it a 5 out of 10. Nah, duck it. Fuck it, duck it. I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10.
Oh shit! I thought you were gonna say 7, so I was gonna go 6.
Oh really?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna give 7 because I did feel like you liked it more than me. Because I'm gonna give it a 6 too. Because first of all, if you like the first season, watch this. I recommend it. But is it as fresh as the first one? No. And I felt like the character developments were a little disjointed because so many new things that we didn't know about these characters just suddenly happened. I did not like that guy having PTSD and writing his stuff, and it was so rushed because if you have PTSD, it's a serious condition. It's not a joke. Like, I did not like him not speaking and then suddenly speaking, and it turns out that drag queen shanked you, and then you cry, and then that's over. Like, I felt like there was these like new things that
I almost consider that like a comedic element. I'm like, why? It's like, why is this happening?
I didn't feel like
he has a tablet thing to like speak and communicate.
You know who I was looking forward to? That first guy, like that general's son, who's such a like double actor. I thought he was gonna be a real DP member, and then I thought the show was trying to make him humanized by spending time with Juno, and then they just show him and
just get pushed away immediately.
Yeah, you know what the show was trying to say? He's a piece of shit. His father, like I thought that was kind of like two-dimensional. Because listen, just because you're born a rich boy's son doesn't mean you're a fucking asshole, man. Like, I felt like there was just a lot of like social injustice thing that the season 2 was trying to bring out that was kind of, I don't know, too much.
I mean, it's one of the things that made us like characters like Jaime Lannister. Looks like an asshole from at the beginning and from the first look, but then as we get to know him and after he goes through some major events, we can see him develop into a different character. So that's what I kind of expected to see from that general's son or whatever.
Yeah, you know what the problem with season 2 is? There are only perpetrators and victims, but do you know what I have a problem with? There's no redemption. Why is every piece of shit still a piece of shit? Like, listen, these guys are 20 years old. And today they're kids. Like, I think they were trying to do with that with the trial, but I was just like, huh? It made me reminded me of a Korean saying that I don't like is people don't change. I don't actually believe that. And like, I felt like the show could be more three-dimensional than just show piece of shits and ugly, like, you know, this is you could argue that this is a very cynical show at heart. So there are only criminals and victim. Like Bertrand Russell said, life is a race of becoming the victim or the criminal. Really? Like, if you really live life, you know that people are not good or bad. I felt like, and Juno's character is like moralizing. Like, okay, he is a well-written character from season 1, so I agree that he's a good guy and all. But I felt like the show could have been a little bit, like you mentioned Game of Thrones, like that. Because in real life there really isn't just victims and perpetrators.
Yeah,
Some of these victims are also perpetrators in other areas.
And I know that they could have done this if they had more time. I mean, why did it only have 6 episodes? Wasn't DP season 1 longer than this?
Maybe, I think so. 8 or something?
Yeah, I think it was longer. And I don't understand why they have 6 seasons. I mean, they did give these characters like a little touch to as that commentary for the Korean society. For example, that kung fu guy, the general's assistant or something, he always buys that Lego. Which means that outside of the base and outside of his military life, he's a family man. He loves enjoying his time with his grandson. And these are people that we see on a daily basis in the streets. Yeah. And this system is what turns them into these monsters.
Anyway. So Won-Jin gives a 6, I give a 6 too. I think the first season I would give it an 8.
Yeah.
Or 8.5 even. But this one, my one line will be, there are some things that are redundant, but overall the story still holds, and there are some fresh ideas, but also ones that I don't need again. So if they do a season 3, I hope it's a Die Hard 3. I also want to see some new characters.
By the way, if anybody hasn't seen Die Hard 3, if you know Die Hard, and if Die Hard 4, Live Free or Die Hard, if that's the only Die Hard you've ever seen, your life is incomplete. You have to watch the first one, then the second one, and then you have to watch the third one to see how you make a third one.
Yep, I agree. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Like I said before, if you want us to do Oppenheimer again, we will. If you like Korean drama, please watch DP. Thank you so much. This has been JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I was Joe.
I was Won-Jin.
We'll return next week. And thank you again, 24th subscriber. Won-Jin has promised me that he will give you a Galaxy Note. Okay, they don't make that anymore. Fold 5. If you identify yourself in the reply.
That is completely untrue.
Thank you so much.
I've never promised this. Thank you very much.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye, bye, bye. He's Won-Jin, by the way. I'm not Won-Jin. Yes, fold 5. Delivered to you.